India just exported $58.6 billion worth of high-tech goods. Smartphones alone, $27.6 billion. Sounds impressive, right? But here's the question nobody is asking. When that smartphone leaves India as a high-tech export, look inside it. The display, South Korea. The chips, Taiwan. The sensors, Japan. The manufacturing equipment, Netherlands. The core intellectual property, California. India's contribution, final assembly, testing, and integration. Assembly is not a weakness. It is the correct first step. The mistake is assuming it is the destination. A decade ago, Vietnam ran India's exact playbook. They anchored Samsung, won the assembly mandate, and rode it to $150 billion in electronics exports. But then, that rapid climb suddenly stalled. Their genuine localization rate for core components still stuck at 5 to 10%. Of 340 domestic firms in Samsung's supplier network, only about 3 dozen are Tier 1 suppliers. The rest supply packaging, printing, and consumables. Vietnam now has a name for what happened to them. This is what they call the assembly trap. Malaysia chose a different path. 50 years in semiconductors, 13% of the global chip assembly and testing market. And yet, even after 5 decades, local industry leaders describe their advanced packaging capability in one word: zero. So what did Malaysia do? 5 local firms pooled together into a single consortium, targeting just 7% of the global advanced packaging market by 2035. The lesson? Every stage of industrial capability has to be built deliberately. None of it arrives automatically. India's manufacturing incentive schemes successfully built stage 1. But the next stage means owning what sits inside the phone: printed circuit assemblies, camera modules, sensors, battery technologies, embedded software. Ultimately, governments can always subsidize factories. What they cannot subsidize is the ecosystem that converts manufacturing activity into genuine technological learning. That is the missing middle between production and innovation. The layer Vietnam never built and Malaysia is still building. The $58.6 billion statistic confirms India has entered the game. The next decade will determine whether India merely assembles the future or helps design it. This is the missing middle IQ. Global policy decoded for people who make real decisions. Every Thursday. Subscribe free. Link in the description.